Hey, what up, guys? Doing my what's next this morning on Undefeated, former WBA super welterweight champion Brian Castano. He fought in the main event of a Fox Sports 1 card on Saturday, November 2nd, when he took on little-known Wale Amatoso. Castano was coming back after that draw that he had with Erislandy Lara back in March in the biggest fight of his career. In a fight that a lot of people thought he was going to lose as he came in the underdog. So he came out against Amatoso, pretty much dominated the action all 5 rounds, and then Amatoso had to pull out with a shoulder injury at the end of the 5th round. So Castano wins by technical knockout win. He was on his way, in my opinion, to a TKO victory anyway, so really didn't matter much. Yeah, it's not the exact ending that everybody wanted, but it looked like he was cruising to a win anyways, dominating the action. So, good performance by Castano. Now the big question is, what's next for Brian Castano? Now, there's nothing concrete that I've heard about, so let's run through the top 10 now and see. Now, Castano, for me, is my number 4 fighter at 154 right now. So, we'll start with number 1, Julian J-Rock Williams, the unified world champion. I think this is an option. J-Rock's coming back in January and taking a fight. Castano hasn't been the most active guy the last couple years, so I don't think he'd mind waiting around for J-Rock to face him. But I don't know. I'm thinking, especially with J-Rock holding 2 belts, he's gonna have to make a mandatory against somebody. I know his IBF mandatory was just decided actually, so he might end up having to do that after this fight in January. So I'm gonna lean towards, even though this is a very makeable fight, I'm gonna lean towards this fight's probably not going to happen next for him. Number 2, Jarrett Hurd. Castano against Jarrett Hurd. I think this is another option. It's a PBC thing. But I don't think Hurd's going to want to test himself against the guy, because Hurd hasn't fought since the loss to J-Rock back in May. And I don't think Hurd's going to want to test himself against a guy like Castano in his first fight back. I think he sees that Castano's the real deal because of the way Castano fought against Erislandy Lara. That's a common opponent that Hurd fought just last year and barely beat Lara. So I don't think he's going to want to put, test himself that hard after coming off of a loss and a long layoff. So I don't see the Hurd fight happening. Next up, a rematch with number 3 WBA regular champion Erislandy Lara. Now, it's kind of funny the way this worked with Castano when he got stripped of the title because he didn't want to go to France and deal with the financial drama that he dealt with before when he fought Michael Soro of France. He got stripped of the belt, and then Lara got a chance to fight for the title against Rigo Alvarez, who came in overweight. Lara still got to fight for the title, dominated Alvarez, who never deserved to be in the fight anyways. So now Lara's the champion. Castano has said that he would fight Lara if Lara wants to fight him again. I think a rematch is possible. I think Lara wants to continue to prove himself. Castano now is a decent name in the division. Not a lot of guys, as usual, are signing on the dotted line to face Lara. But I do think Lara might have to make a mandatory against Frenchman Michael Soro at some point. And he might have to do that before a fight with Castano. So I'm not exactly sure. The WBA has not ordered that fight yet between Lara and Soro. So I do think it's possible, and I think it'd be, people do want to see the rematch because the first fight was pretty good. So he's got to wait and see, but I do think this is an option, and it's an easy fight to make. Next up is number 5, WBC champion Tony Harrison. If Harrison's facing Jermell Charlo in a rematch on December 21st, I wouldn't completely rule Castano out as an option, but I think Harrison, if he were to beat Charlo, I think he'd want to take on somebody with a bigger name, maybe J-Rock in his next fight, or again, just somebody with a bigger name. So I'm going to lean towards the no on this one. And if Tony Harrison loses to Charlo, I don't think he's going to want to have anything to do with Castano next. So then we go to Jermell Charlo now. He's number 6 for me right now. If he beats Harrison, I think a fight with Castano is possible. If he can't get a bigger fight, like a fight with Lara or even Jarrett Hurd or J-Rock, which is the fight that Charlo wants, If he can't get that, I think Castano's a possibility for him, but he's like a third or fourth option. I think Charlo will go after other people before a guy like Castano, but I wouldn't completely rule it out, and it's an easy fight to make, so it is possible. Castano against number 7 undefeated WBO champion Jaime Munguia. Munguia fights for Golden Boy. He's got options. Castano's got options with the PBC. I don't see Golden Boy and Al Heyman and the PBC getting together for this fight. Number 8, Dennis Hogan. Hogan's moving up to middleweight on December 7th and taking on Jamal Charlo. If Hogan were to come up short, I wouldn't completely rule it out for him to come back down to 154 and face a guy like Castano, but I don't think, I'm going to lean towards a no. I don't see it happening, but I wouldn't completely rule it out. Number 9, former welterweight champ Jesse Vargas. Vargas fights for DAZN and Matchroom. I don't see him getting together with Castano. I think he wants to take on a bigger name option before, you know, instead of taking a risk like Castano. But, you know, wouldn't completely rule it out, but I don't see the two, you know, promoters getting together on this one. And then number 10, Erickson Lubin. I think Castano could get this fight if he wanted it, but I'm not sure unless it's a final eliminator. I'm not sure Castano's going to sign on to face a guy like Lubin. Lubin's a real deal, but Castano's also the real deal. And these guys are both promoted by the PBC. I could see this fight happening if they cannot get another opponent in the ring. I could see this fight happening. You know, them just saying fuck it and going after each other. I'm going to lean towards the no, but I do think it's possible. So, Castano trying to make a name for himself. Other options out there, Terrell Gaucher is going to be looking for a big name, you know, a good-sized opponent in the top 10. And Austin Trout might face him as a guy just trying to hang on, you know, and take on whoever. So, we'll see what happens, but that's the what's next on the undefeated former super welterweight champion, Brian Castano. All right, guys, that's it. True Boxing. You've been here with the truth.